I'm really excited to be doing this review right now because I'm going to be talking about an extremely special controller that I think a lot of you guys are going to really like. This controller in my hands is known as the GC Ultimate Controller. As you can see, it's just a GameCube controller. It has the exact same shape as a GameCube controller, but it has a lot more going on inside it. And as you can see from the buttons that it also has, it's a whole lot different to just your regular GameCube controller. And it's actually made by Handheld Legends, which, if you know from maybe the past couple of months, I've been using a controller from theirs known as the Pro GCC, which has become my main Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Let's go over the features of the GC Ultimate. Let's start off with the buttons first off. So you have your standard A, B, X and Y button, they're all in the same place. You have a split D-pad, just like the Pro GCC, the split D-pad just to be able to determine exactly which button you want to press. As you can see in the middle, you have your plus button, your minus button, your home button, and of course your screen share button, or not screen share, but your snapshot button, you know what I mean. You have the control stick, your C stick, and just to let you know, they're both Hall effect sticks as well. You probably noticed this red out of place color gate thing. This is actually the gate plate for the GC Ultimate controller. You can actually change this color to multiple different colors. Like I'm only using red just because I can, of course. But Handheld Legends comes with a bunch of them. You have the circular shape, and you do have the octagonal shapes as well if you prefer it. Another cool thing is the Z buttons, the double Z buttons that you have here. As you can see, they are the exact same size. You have one on left and right. Unlike a certain controller on the Nintendo Switch 2, I believe the regular GameCube controller, which I'm pretty sure the LZ button is just a really tiny one. But this one has two of them, and they're the size that you would expect them to be. Speaking about that just a little bit more, like I just said, that controller only works for the Nintendo Switch 2. This controller works for the Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2 and on PC as well. It's really fulfilling the name of it being the ultimate controller because of how compatible it is on anything that you try to throw it at. Don't actually throw the controller though. Oh yeah, there's actually one button that I haven't actually talked about. It's the middle button, which actually enables the controller to be turned on, and while just holding it for a little bit, you can notice the colors and the flare. It just... This is the way that you would actually use the controller to turn it on wirelessly. You can use it as a wired controller as well, which I normally do with my regular Pro GCC. And I do it with this as well. And the wireless performance works as expected. It works really fine. At least in my experience, there has not been any interference either, so it's actually great. But look guys, colors. You can change all these colors from these buttons however you want in the firmware, which I can show you just a little bit later. And saving the best part for last, the triggers. Mechanical triggers. Now, I just gotta say, words cannot express how nice mechanical triggers feel on a GameCube controller. When Handheld Legends sent me this controller, it was actually installed with just regular analog triggers, you know, just the regular, the same way that they would implement it on a regular GameCube controller. They also sent me a kit to install the mechanical triggers, and by far, the mechanical triggers are so much better. The only thing though is that when trying to install the mechanical triggers, they are a little bit finicky. Just saying that it took a bit to get it absolutely right the way I've got it right now. Handheld Legends do have a guide on how to install those triggers as well, so I highly recommend it that you do check it out if you do get this controller, because trust me, it is worth it. And I just think, just during in gameplay, I think having a mechanical trigger just allows you to be able to get the trigger input much quicker, because you don't actually have to press the button down too much to be able to get the trigger to click. It's almost like I barely have to press it, and you can see the click happens just right there. Like I barely press the controller or the trigger, and the click just goes through. So in my opinion, it gives you a much more responsive feeling to your game that you play for whatever button is, I guess, mapped to the trigger button, you know? And every single time you click it, you get that really satisfying feeling. It's honestly just absolutely amazing. And for sure, we can't forget, because I think most of you guys watch me because I play a lot of Splatoon and I play it really well. Of course, this thing does have gyro control as well. Like I said, the GC Ultimate controller is just a GameCube controller, but has the Pro GCC's internals. So this is a GameCube controller with gyro control. And when I was reviewing the Pro GCC, I don't think I really went into how good the gyro sensor really is and what even is the gyro sensor. And just to explain, these controllers have what is known to be a dual gyro sensor. To kind of explain what that is in a technical term is that basically there are two gyro sensors that work in unison with each other, and it's a thing where they try to work together to remove as much gyro noise as possible, making your gyro input to be insanely accurate compared to a regular Nintendo Switch Pro controller. And this is why, since the time I've been playing this controller, this has been my main controller to use on a Nintendo Switch 2. Just to have all those internals and then put into a GameCube controller, it's just like, man, I just have now a different shape or different way to play on my Nintendo Switch comfortably. And with the Pro GCC's internals and firmware, yes, this controller also tries its best to have the lowest latency possible compared to a regular Switch Pro controller, and to also have the most consistent inputs with your controller to your Nintendo Switch. I used to try out a bunch of other third-party controllers and all that, but all of them led into the same issue where it would always feel like there was a little bit more latency on those specific controllers compared to just using a regular Switch Pro controller and all that. But genuinely, it feels like Handheld Legends have the only controllers that are able to at least match the latency or be better than the latency than the regular Switch Pro controller. Now, to not get sidetracked, because we were talking about gyro control, how does this thing feel when playing a game like Splatoon? And just to share, yeah, this controller aims extremely well. I think if you are a competitive Splatoon player or someone who's been playing Splatoon on Pro controllers or the Pro GCC for a long time, I think you're going to find the shape of the GameCube controller to be a little bit awkward at first, especially if you're not used to the shape of holding a GameCube controller. But I think if you really do enjoy the shape of a GameCube controller, then playing Splatoon on this is absolutely amazing. I think if you're also going to play this controller for Splatoon, the button layout is going to be a little bit awkward, but don't be, I guess, like discouraged by that, because you can remap all the buttons to wherever you choose. At least personally for me, I remapped the A button and B button around so that I can use the A button to jump and the B button to do whatever else. That will take some time to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it doesn't feel like it's much of an issue. One thing I will say though is that since the GameCube controller's C-stick is significantly smaller than just a regular Pro controller, like I guess for mine, I mean mine also has like a control freak on top of it, but the control stick is much smaller for Splatoon, and it might throw you off a little bit. But in my opinion, I just feel like that's not necessarily a huge issue. Like, of course, maybe it might be a little bit more comfortable if the stick was bigger, but this is a GameCube controller and it's supposed to be true to a GameCube controller. And with time, I do think you do get used to the smaller stick, regardless of it not being the same size as a much larger stick and all that. So that's pretty much all the things in terms of Splatoon that I gotta mention. Like, of course, you can see on the screen like now I'm playing Splatoon just fine with this controller too, and it feels absolutely amazing to play Splatoon on this despite that. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. In terms of other games, like of course Super Smash Bros, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't play Super Smash Bros like that, but this is a GameCube controller and it's the same shape as a regular GameCube controller. So if you do like the GameCube controller for Smash, you can't go wrong with this controller, because it's not really that much different besides that. Except maybe it's a little lighter than a GameCube controller, which I think can actually be favorable for you in some ways. I definitely know it's favorable for a game like Splatoon because of course it makes it easier to actually move gyro and all that, but that's besides the point. If you're just playing other games like maybe Mario Kart, this is actually the only controller now that I've been playing Mario Kart World on, and it's just an absolute, it's just so nice because using the triggers, using the buttons, using that big A button, you have a big A button to press Excel now. Well, of course you can remap the buttons too, but you know, it just feels really, really good. Now I'm going to show you guys the firmware of this controller just really, really quickly. So when you connect your controller to your PC, you get this pop-up saying that hold your to config on the bottom right, and you know, whatever your controller is called, whether it's your Pro GCC, your GC Ultimate, whichever. But pretty much you just press connect, you just connect the controller that's connected, and then you wait for a little bit, and apparently I have an update, so I need to update the controller in a little bit, but we can do this after. But I mean, it kind of shows that there will be constant updates that happen to this controller. And this is just to, of course, improve it if there's any issues or anything like that. But besides that, you have all these different options. You have gamepad, which if you click onto that, you have like several different options basically to show you which default mode that you would want yours, I guess your GC Ultimate to go in. If you want it to be Nintendo Switch, you want it to be X input, GC USB, which is I guess GameCube USB, N64, SNES, and S input as well, which I believe is Steam input as well. So you have the choice to choose its default mode, which is great. You have the remap option, which is going to be really important if you're using this for I guess a bunch of different games for the Nintendo Switch. Specifically, switching that A button and B button is really important, especially if you're playing Splatoon, or if you like the B button the same way. You know, if you want to prefer a default, it's fine too. You have the joystick option, which you can calibrate your joystick if there's any issues. But I mean, I feel like the first time you get your, I guess your controller, you would only ever have to do this one time, and it should just, I guess, keep its calibration unless there is an issue where you might need to calibrate again. But of course, you got that. You have the dead zones as well, which I've actually shortened my inner dead zone. So whenever I move my controller slightly, it's actually much more responsive, which can be really helpful for a bunch of different games, especially in Smash or especially in Splatoon, in my opinion. So that's why I've actually lowered it. You have RGB, so you can change the brightness of it, the animation time. You can have user mode. You can change all the colors of it to any sort of color that you ever want. Of course, you have this like option here, so you can just change it to exactly what color you want it to be. You can make it do a rainbow effect, as you can see here. There's a little rainbow happening. You have a react effect where if you of course have selected a specific color, you can actually just press the button and the color will actually pop up, and you know, that's just how it'll work. It's actually kind of cool. You can move the stick as well, you know. It's just, you know, I've showed this on my Pro GCC as well, but you know. And you have the fairy one, which is the one that I'm using personally. I have this color code here, so it's actually just kind of like scrolling through all the colors and doing a bunch of different things, which I personally prefer on this specific controller. So it looks really cool. You have motion where you can calibrate it as well. You only ever have to do this one time, of course, and it should keep its calibration. And you don't exactly even need to do it because the default calibration also feels really good as well. So, you know, if you need to do it, you can. If you don't have to, it's fine. You have haptic feedback, which is a rumble effect on this controller. When you press the triggers, it actually has like a little zoom kind of feeling or buzz when you actually press the triggers. So it's actually kind of a nice feeling. Personally, for me, I leave it on, but you can turn this off or on, and you can change the intensity of it as well just by dragging the slider. So, you know, I'm not going to really play with that, but you know, it feels nice. Also, you have a trigger option, which is specific to this particular controller. If you're using this controller for the analog inputs and you're not using the mechanical triggers that I have installed right now, then this is going to be important for you because you're going to actually have to calibrate this. And when you push the trigger or hold it in a certain way, it will actually show up on this bar as well. You can actually change the digital threshold for it. You can change the dead zone of it, the split value, and all that type of stuff. And you can do this for both triggers as well. So, I mean, this is actually, I think, something really important if you are specifically using the analog triggers for this controller. But apart from that, that's the firmware, and this, of course, is the GC Ultimate Controller. And I've got to say, this is by far the best GameCube controller that you can get. It's an absolutely amazing GameCube controller. It does absolutely everything that you would want or expect from a GameCube controller and more, or a whole lot more, just to say. You can get this GameCube controller in several different colors, especially if you check out on Handheld Legends website. The price of the controller varies depending where you're from. I mean, for me, it's around 95 to 96 pounds, which I think it's trying to translate to 130 US dollars currently. So it's very much somewhat pricey compared to, of course, the regular GameCube controller. But when you think about it in terms of firmware, of course, what you're getting, the double Z buttons, the mechanical triggers, the Hall effect sticks, and all the extra features that are packed into this controller, you kind of look at the price and you kind of think, yeah, that actually kind of does make sense. Genuinely, this is a very well-made controller, and it does a whole lot and more. And I'd say if any of you guys were to get this controller, I don't think any of you guys would be disappointed, depending on what you're using it for. If you do decide to get this controller, there is a link in the description below for where you can purchase it on Handheld Legends website. And also, to save yourself some money as well, use code DUDE10 to be able to save yourself 10%. And of course, if you do, let me know if you did on Twitter, on Discord. And of course, too, you should show me the color combination that you actually decided to make with this controller too, if you decide to get it. So yeah, honestly, the GC Ultimate Controller, absolutely amazing controller. And quite literally, this is probably the only GameCube controller you will ever need for the rest of the time, unless like something much better than this comes out. But I mean, honestly, this ticks a whole lot of boxes, and it's very, very good. It's very, very good, and I think you guys would really, really enjoy this controller. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. This was my honest take of this controller, so I hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, if you do want to get a controller, in the description below, use code DUDE10. I would really appreciate it, and of course show me your controller. So thank you so much everyone for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in a future video.